Hello, Cowgirl Earth Magic School community. I just was turning my camera on. It's kind of funny. Here we are. It's getting close to Samhain, doing an ancestors offering bowl, and I'm still in a tank top. It's still supposed to be 80 degrees out today. So we're starting to get like the cooler mornings, but definitely nothing that's lasting through the day to have it a nice cool fall day yet. But I'm actually a summer lover, so I'm soaking this in, enjoying every second of it, because once it turns fall, then it'll be winter, and then I'll be counting down until warm again. So I'm just gonna enjoy it. Okay, anyway, so here we are, about middle of October. You hear people talking about the veil is thinning as we move closer to Samhain. Well, let's talk about what that means. Everybody's saying the veil is thinning and it's getting easier to communicate with ancestors. It's getting easier to see dreams, and we're supposed to be doing shadow work, and we're supposed to be able to work with divination tools more easily. And everybody's talking about this veil is thinning. That's why these things are more easily accessible to us. But why? What is the veil? Let's start there. So everything's vibrating at its own frequency. Us, the 3D physical objects, your pets, your plants, your crystals, everything in our world is vibrating at some type of frequency. What does that mean? It's like the atomic structure is vibrating at a certain frequency. And crystals, they all carry their own frequency, and they stay pretty stagnant in that vibration. They do stay stagnant in that vibrational frequency. It doesn't alter. For humans, our frequency is altering all the time based on people, places, things, interactions that we have. Our frequency, like all of our body systems have their own frequencies, and they're always changing, and nothing really ever stays. It is chaos in here. But despite all that, however we're vibrating, we actually vibrate at a very slow frequency. And that's what keeps us in our human physical body. Like our soul could be off vibrating, think about dream work or astral travel. Like your soul can be vibrating at a different frequency, but when you're in your beta brainwave state and you're here in the present now, your soul is in your body, you are in this low vibrational frequency, and that's what keeps us here. I do believe that, and you have to take everything I say, these are my beliefs from experience and from what I've learned from other teachers and from what I've read, and just take what sticks with you, leave what doesn't. But I do believe that when your physical body dies, your soul is then vibrating at a higher frequency and goes into another dimension. Your soul doesn't ever stop being. So if you believe like that, then it's easy to see how we could connect with our ancestors. Their souls are still present, but they're on a different realm. They're in a different realm than we are. Their souls are vibrating at a frequency higher than what we can see. And the veil refers to that soft space in between our 3D world and whatever you want to call it, the 5D, the angelic realm, the spiritual realm, whatever you want to call it. The veil is that liminal space between. And typically, and then I think that that's more than just our ancestors. It's spiritual energies, it's spirit guides, it's ascended masters, it's different angels, it's different energetic frequencies of beings that we just vibrate too low and slow. We just can't see them and interact with them very easily. But typically this veil is like a constant, dense, closed type of thing, and it takes a lot of effort for somebody to get into a deep meditative state or to astral travel or to connect on the other side of the veil. But during, like, as the seasons approach Samhain, that veil's actually thinner. As the wheel of the year turns towards Samhain, the veil thins and allows for that easier communication. So you might be feeling heightened synchronicities. I'm seeing like multiple angel numbers every day. Angel numbers are always a thing for me, but I'm seeing like multiple, and I'm talking like not the ones you just see on a clock. I just saw 88, 88 a couple days ago, 44, 44. Like, I'm seeing angel numbers, big ones, all the time. So that's cool. I am like animal spirit allies. Like, I'm seeing animals. Obviously, I see animals all the time, but I'm seeing different animals more frequently, and then seeing them in like their animal form in real life, and then seeing them in dream work, and then seeing them like maybe being out shopping and seeing a picture of the same one. Like, so synchronicities like that are probably happening more frequently for you. Or remembering your dreams, vivid dreams, intuitive downloads, those are happening more frequently. I typically don't remember my dreams. I make a conscious effort to try to remember, and I do keep a journal by my bed so I can dream journal when I do remember the bits and pieces that I do remember, so that I can try to make sense of it all. But I've been remembering more and more. If you look at my dream journal, it's like October, 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 versus like, you know, the months before, it's maybe 1 to 4 a month, but I'm having like every other night, I'm remembering bits and pieces of dreams. The veil is thinning. You might be feeling more energetic sensitivity. We talk about shadow work because there is this pull towards stillness and looking inside yourself and trying to work on yourself. And with that is where that ancestral connection comes in, with like wanting to honor your lineage. And that's what we're going to create this offering bowl for the ancestors today. And that's kind of where it all comes from. So, and in doing that, honoring lineage, we could do ancestor altars. A lot of people will do that. We're doing the offering bowls today. You could put the offering bowl on an altar, whatever feels right to you. People do candles of remembrance. People do divination, trying to connect with ancestors. It seems like this time of year we're called to that. And it's not a synchronicity. I think that our guides are telling people, they're making themselves more easily seen, kind of as a reminder, like, hey, we know that you need our guidance. We know that you need our help. Now is the time of year where we can connect more easily and help you. So I think that's why there's like this collective calling to be working with our ancestors more. So the offering bowl itself is a simple yet profound practice of reciprocity. I do not have a specific ancestral offering bowl right now. I'm going to make one of those dedicated to that with you today, just to show you, like, this is typically my offering bowl. I've talked about it before. I don't want to tip everything out, but you just find a bowl that feels sacred to you, and it is, you're offering small tokens as acts of gratitude. And it is, I am always asking for signs and guidance from my spirit guides, from the angels, from ascended masters, from gods or goddesses I've connected with. And this is kind of my universal offerings of gratitude and even just working with the earth elements and thinking of them, any of the elements of our earth, thinking of them as living signs and living guidance and living ways to connect with the planet, with the animals, with everything. Let's think, for example, I start with my quartz point in the middle just to keep the energy moving in this offering bowl. I did a manifestation ritual, probably like springtime this year. And there's a token from that ritual in here. I've got crystals in here. I've got when my kids pick flowers and stuff, usually those will end up in here as offerings. I've got like sweet treats that I did as part of a ceremony, and I added like sweet candies to sweeten the blessings. I started connecting with plant allies more. And the first plant ally that I connected with, I put that piece into my offering bowl. I mean, you know what's going to feel right to you to express gratitude. And then at the end of the year, so I am getting ready to, right at or before Samhain, I will take my offering bowl and I will bury my offerings, returning them to the earth with gratitude. It will be a ceremonial thing. And then I'll start fresh again when we come in after Samhain and move towards the next year. So I've never done the ancestral bowl before, but I want to get it started. And I think it will be something that we add to, like, at least, I would like to see this as like a living piece where it's like, yes, we're getting started during this time where connection is easy, but then it should be something that maybe you add to it at your ancestors' human birthdays, or maybe you add to it at holidays, high holidays. Maybe you add to it like in important events. There's like a wedding and you keep a flower from the wedding and you add it to your, things like that. I'm hoping that we can start it today, and we're really starting it for the next year. And then as we approach Samhain 2026, you might be called to bury this or place it at an ancestor's memorial site, or whatever you're called to do with it. I just wanted to help you get started with a really simple practice that I think makes a big difference in feeling connected to your ancestors or feeling connected to your spirit guides, and just honoring the guidance that they give you and expressing gratitude for that. So in your offering bowl, let's think about what goes in there. Offer small tokens as acts of remembrance. Whenever you feel their energy, kind of pay attention to what's around you. So if you feel their energy when you're out on a walk, like maybe you hear something or you just feel their presence, and then I'd just kind of look out and see what you find. Maybe there's a leaf on the ground or a small flower or something that you could then take. And if I take something from a living plant, I always use, breath, I blow on it or just touch my saliva to it as like my life force energy offered back with gratitude for taking that and maybe adding it to my ancestors' offering bowl. This isn't about like, that's something, and I don't think anybody would think this, but I did just write it down to not forget. It's not about trying to appease and keep happy your ancestors, but it's really an act of connection. It's the more, that gratitude is a very high vibrational emotion, and the more gratitude you feel, the more you bring that into your life. So if we are expressing gratitude for the guidance and connection that we have and receive with our ancestors, if that's something you're looking for, by offering that gratitude, you may start to see more of that coming into your life. It's kind of like saying, I haven't forgotten you, acknowledging and carrying strengths, stories, and lessons that have been passed on from the ancestors within us. This offering bowl is a way we're giving back, and we're giving back through the elements, through small tokens. I really like the idea. We're going to start with the elements tonight because it really represents the 5 elements. Well, 4 if we're considering your ancestors as the spirit element, ether. But those elements really represent a full circle of life, death, and rebirth when you bring all of them into the picture. So we're going to start our offering bowls with that today, something representing each of the elements. So it's a little bit similar to what we did with our altar. We started when we did our altar consecration, we started that with the 4 elements. And now we're going to start this offering bowl with the 4 elements. But really think of the ancestors that you want to remember. You can think of them as we do that, as I'm just thinking of something with my grandpa that made me smile as we start this offering bowl. But kind of throughout the year, you'll know what you should be adding to it outside of just the 4 elements. So that's kind of my teaching spiel. Now, spiel, I don't know how you say that word, but regardless, let's get started. We're gonna clear our space, clear your bowl. And I said just some sort of bowl that feels sacred to you. It could be anything. This is a neem wood bowl with a copper ring around it. And that's what I use for the bowl that I've been growing all year. And this is just a copper bowl. It was it was a candle at one point, and I saved the bowl. Copper, you know, moves energy, so I thought that would be a nice bowl to use for that. And it's big, so I can put a lot in it, so I liked that. But whatever you have is right. Maybe you even got like a favorite pottery piece from your grandma. Like that would be a beautiful way to incorporate, you know, whatever feels right to you. Maybe you just found something cute at Hobby Lobby. That's just fine. Whatever works for you. What I am, especially if it's the Hobby Lobby piece, we are gonna go ahead and just clear our energy, and we could clear the energy that's already surrounding our bowls too. So we're starting with a fresh slate. So take a deep breath in, breathe in, beautiful white life force energy. And as you exhale, exhale anything that no longer serves you. And you can exhale straight into that smoke and see that energy dissipate. The smoke rises and dissipates it. And then I'm just gonna hold my bowl upside down so that I can clear the energy off of the bowl before I use it. This is the first time I've cleared this morning. It feels good. It feels good. So I'm just gonna let that keep burning. I do think I've got, I think we should have a candle, like I'm gonna light my typical like candle I always light when we're teaching, but I think we should do a candle dedicated to your offering bowl that sits with your offering bowl. And that's just something you can kind of light periodically to refresh that energy. And I don't know, it felt right to add a candle. So I actually have like something with like a tobacco-y scent. Tobacco would be great for this as an offering. Palo Santo would be great for this. You know, it's whatever calls to you. I've got a tobacco Palo Santo candle that I just asked somebody to make for me, and it smells divine. I don't even know what all notes she has in it, but that's going to be perfect for this. So, and it doesn't have to be anything special like that. Any candle. I even for this, and I don't have my candle with me, so for this I just pulled a tea light in a salt lamp holder. Not a salt lamp. It's just a salt tea light holder. It's simple. But it's purifying. So something like that, a white candle just for purifying. Like it doesn't have to be something cool. But if you're looking for like an extra element, that tobacco would be good for offering prayers. And Palo Santo is good for clearing and healing. So that's why that scent called to me. And earth element. I've got crystals, I've got salt. That's always, I mean, everything's always easily represented when you're paying attention to it. Okay, I am gonna go ahead and open a circle and call the guides and guardians in. I call to the guides and the guardians of the east, the element of air for clarity. I call to the guides and the guardians of the south, the element of fire for passion and creativity. I call to the guides and the guardians of the west, the element of water for ease and flow. And I call to the guides and the guardians of the north, the element of earth for protection, grounding, strength. Okay, with that, choose your bowl. It could be pottery, could be wood, could be metal, and then you want to keep it somewhere that kind of feels energetically like the center of your home. I've got a space. I'm actually going to keep it where I keep like my seasonal altar. I'm going to keep it there next to that space. Right now, I've kind of jumped the gun and got that set up for Samhain. So it's going to tie in really nicely. I do always keep my offering bowl for my spirit guides there. I'll just have two now. And I think that's beautiful. And I might feel called to move it at some point, but right now that's where it feels good to me. And we're going to start with the 4 elements. So let's think about air. What could you be bringing in as an offering to your ancestors for the air element? It could be ash that you've burned. It could be a feather. It could be, think about this. I thought this was beautiful. Breath. So how are you going to put breath into your bowl? If you hand wrote a prayer or hand wrote a poem or hand wrote something that you want to say to your ancestors, you could handwrite it and then you could speak it. And I would even speak it onto your paper. And then that handwriting carries your breath of what you'd be saying to your ancestors. I thought that was a beautiful way to do that. So you could handwrite something and stick it in your bowl. For me, we have big eagle's nests on our property, and I was lucky enough to find this on the ground near one of them. So I've got a bald eagle feather, and that speaks to me for my grandpa. He was big into birds and bird watching. And I do remember when we were kids, we took a trip to Illinois where we went looking for eagles. So to have found this feather, I thought that was perfect for this offering bowl. Fire. This one's a little bit trickier because you want something representative of fire, but you have to think safety in our homes. You don't want to leave this like something burning all the time, but you could do a matchstick. You could just light a match. I'm going to use this match to light my candle when we finish, and then I'm going to put the matchstick in my offering bowl. You could use a crystal representative of fire. Think sunstone, carnelian. Those would be great. Fire agate. Those would be great to use. Ethiopian fire opal would be good. I even thought this was what made me laugh earlier. All of my grandparents, except for one, were smokers, which I hate cigarettes, and I don't even know where I would find one, but that could be representative of fire. Or if I could probably get just a tobacco offering and put it in there. Your intention means everything. The intention for that tobacco could be representative of fire, tying it to the cigarettes. That just made me laugh. Like, what a funny offering to think that I would put a cigarette in there, but it would be relevant, and it's all about your intention. So I might opt to find some good tobacco, just pure tobacco, and I'm gonna leave it in my offering bowl because they all smoked except for one. But that might be tobacco is a good prayer offering, but then B, if that's something that they enjoy doing, that would be a good thing to add to your ancestral bowl. Water, the water element. You could add moon water, you could add essential oils of some kind. You could add your life force. If you were crying and collected a tear and added it, or it's not as clean and pretty, but you could spit and offer your life force energy. I'm going to use, I think I've told you guys this, or at least we talked about it in one of the classrooms. I don't know everything about it, but this was holy water that was in my grandmother's house. It's holy water of some sort. I don't know where it's from, but it was important enough to them to find this fancy bottle to put it in. So I'm going to use that as my water offering. And you could I'm going to just sprinkle a couple sprinkles, but I'm going to leave this water sit with my bowl. I'm not going to pour the water in there and have everything drenched and get nasty over time. You have to think about this is going to be sitting for a year. So what you want things to be dry that you're putting in. I'm just going to sprinkle some in there periodically. Earth. This could be soil from your land. This could be a crystal. This could be an herb. This could be white sage. This could be where you offer the tobacco if you like the idea of tobacco, but you weren't using it as like something that they smoked, but you like the idea of tobacco as a prayer offering and it representing an element. It's all about your intention. That could be your intention for representing earth. I've actually got some dried yarrow that I'm going to include in my bowl. This is for, and let's talk about what everything's for. I guess I skipped that part. Air representing breath, fire, transformation and spark of life, water, emotion, memory, flow between the realms. So the water element's super important. And then earth, this is for that grounding, lineage, physical connection. So that's where the earth piece comes in. And then you just think about like little personal items that you could include. So once you've got all of the 4 elements represented, then you might want to include like a picture of your family, or my grandpa and I wood carved together. He did a lot for a long time, and we all of the grandkids have little wooden figurines that he carved for us while we were young. My grandma and her brother, not my grandma, my mother and her brother have the majority of the carvings, and my daughter's got one now. Like, they're slowly being passed around, but how neat it would be if one of the pieces that I carved, if it was small enough and made sense to leave it in the offering bowl, or like a carving knife, if I stumbled across one that I used, or I saw one in a resale shop and thought it looked familiar, you know, just whatever, you'll know what you feel connected to. Then this would be a person for the personal items, like say it's the holidays and it's like grandma or grandpa's or whoever you're offering bowls for, it's their favorite Christmas cookies are out. You might take a little piece of the cookie and add it to your offering bowl for like sweet blessings for your ancestors' spirits, and like in remembrance of their favorite cookie. I wrote hummingbird nest down. I found a hummingbird nest, like the start of one, out in the horse pasture a few weeks ago now, and I've kept it. I've got a spot where I kind of keep things like that, but I could take that hummingbird nest. One of my grandmothers really loved hummingbirds and would always have hummingbird feeders and watch hummingbirds all day, especially in like her last days. That was important, that she could be somewhere where she could sit and watch out her window and see the hummingbirds. That meant a lot to her. So that would be a great way to take my hummingbird nest that I found and add it to which I will, add it to the offering bowl for my ancestors. So, but for now, I did want to, I've got the hummingbird nest. I'm gonna add that later, but I did pull this to offer. This is a crystal rosary, and religion was very important to one of my grandpas, I think to all of them, but really one of them specifically studied like all of the world religions. He was really theological, and I was young, in like middle school when he died. But at this point in my life, how I'm so interested in world religions and spirituality, I wish that he would be here, that I could talk to him about some different ideas and theories about things. But this is just, it's not a fancy, expensive rosary, but I thought that'd be nice to place in my offering bowl for him. We are gonna activate with intention our bowls, so I am gonna sprinkle my water here. If you are lighting a candle to go with your bowl, now would be the time to do that. So I'm gonna light the candle and then leave my matchstick, my used matchstick, in my bowl. For my fire element. So it's not full yet, but I mean, this is a start. That's the start. Give it a year. And that'll be in about a year. So go ahead, light your candle, have your bowl, and we're just gonna activate with our hands. I've just got my hands, both hands over my bowl. And I just invite you to close your eyes and repeat with me. And really, when I activate something, I call that white light down from above and I imagine your soul star, your crown chakra. Those are the chakras connecting you to the divine. So I can imagine that white light entering through those chakras, filling my whole energy field. But what specifically, bring that white light down from above, down your soul star, down through your crown, past your third eye, past your throat chakra. Feel that support in your shoulders and that white light going down your arms, down your palms, and like radiating out of your palms, hovering over your offering bowl. So breathe and feel that energy called down from above. And you can say this with me or repeat after me or say whatever you feel called to say. For those who've walked before me, I remember, I honor, I thank you. May this offering feed your spirit as your wisdom nourishes mine. And we've got that candle lit, and that's just like an energetic channel between us and our lineage. That's the point of the candle, just to kind of bring to life that spark of life, opening up the channels between that realm and this realm. And I'd like to keep that candle near your offering bowl and light it whenever you feel called. With grace in my heart and harm to none, this prayer is sealed, this work is done. And it's that simple. Now you've got the start of an offering bowl for your ancestors. So like I said, add to it whenever you feel gratitude, whenever you're looking for guidance, whenever you're seeking connection, whenever you feel called to add to it. Add to it. And it might be a flower from a meaningful moment, a note of thanks for a challenge that's been removed, a few grains from a harvest as gratitude for sustenance. And then, like I said, at Samhain, do what feels right to you. So let this grow for a year, and then you'll make space for the new blessings to flow by either burying what you've accumulated over the years or over the year, offering it back to the earth. Maybe you're going to burn what's in your offering bowl at the end of the year. But I do encourage you to, once your offering bowl is full, make a ceremony out of returning to the earth with gratitude to make way for new blessings, new guidance, new connections to come in the next year. So with that, let's go ahead and release the guides and guardians. I give gratitude and thanks, and I release the guides and the guardians of the earth for their protection, their grounding. With gratitude and thanks, I release the guides and the guardians of the west for their ease and flow. And with gratitude and thanks, I release the guides and the guardians of the south for passion, transformation, and courage. And with gratitude, I give thanks and release the guides and the guardians of the east for eagle's vision, clarity, new beginnings. And with so much love and gratitude, I release all of you to go back to your day, kind of with a new way to connect with your ancestors. So if you've got questions or want to reach out about anything about this offering bowl, please feel free to reach out to me in Skool. You can private message me there or comment on this video. We are going to do some more ancestral work on Thursday in the free community. Our guided meditation will be for connecting with your ancestors. So have your bowls close with the candle. That would be just another way to layer the magic. Let's see, Wednesday in Cowgirl Roots, we'll be building a crystal grid together. Cannot for the life of me remember what the grid is about. But we're building a grid tomorrow in Cowgirl Roots. I will post supplies today in the general community discussion board. And Friday will be Labradorite session 2 for those of us in Cowgirl Soul. So with so much love and gratitude, thanks for being here. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that you have a great time connecting with your ancestors in a more meaningful way. I'll see you soon in school.